The Oklahoma Sooners have now landed a 3-star edge rusher, and I get it. I'm going to hear the 3-star university comments down below, but guess what? Wyatt Gilmore actually might be more talented than the 3 stars actually give him credit for. But guys, before we dive into it and look at some film, go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button and jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are around the 3-star edge rusher Wyatt Gilmore from Rogers, Minnesota that the University of Oklahoma has just landed. So the Oklahoma Sooners have now landed Wyatt Gilmore, the 3-star, 6'4", 240-pound edge rusher out of Rogers, Minnesota. Now, when was the last time you saw Oklahoma go into the state of Minnesota and land a prospect? It's been a while. And a guy that was, I think, crystal balled to end up at the University of Minnesota. This actually, I think, is a big-time win for the University of Oklahoma. And kind of let me explain a little bit why. Because when you deep dive into the film of Wyatt Gilmore, which we're going to take a look at here in just a second, you see just how explosive he is off that line of scrimmage, but also you see how he's able to track down the ball carrier, but also be able to get the ball out of the ball carrier's hands, which I think is really important. Now, Wyatt Gilmore has hosted a little over 16 offers. I believe he's taken about 3 or 4 official visits, one to Miami on June 2nd, one to Minnesota on June 9th, and then one to Oklahoma here on June 16th for the Champion Barbecue. But he's also had offers from the likes of Oregon, Kansas State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and others. So he's had other Power 5 offers. It's not like Wyatt Gilmore was just some guy that Oklahoma was recruiting off the streets that probably could have got a PWO. No, Wyatt Gilmore is actually a skilled and talented edge rusher that, quite frankly, Oklahoma is going to need with all they have leaving that room during the offseason. So you look at what Wyatt Gilmore has, right? He's a productive high school football player. He doesn't just play on the defensive side of the ball, but he's able to do things on the offense for you, like catching the ball. Now, here's the deal. He is a 2-sport athlete. Spent a little time on the basketball court. So nice to see Oklahoma again getting to what they've been doing all season, and that's recruiting guys that are either athletes that can play multiple positions or getting 2-sport athletes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some film here while we continue to talk so you guys can kind of see what I'm seeing and see what I'm talking about. We'll hit the play button here. So you're going to see Wyatt Gilmore off the edge right there. Boom. I mean, just pulls him down to the ground, ball's out right there. Extremely aware that the ball was out as well. You're going to see him here again. He brings him down, pops the ball out. Now here you're going to get to see kind of that athleticism we're talking about. He kind of does it all, right? Productive. He plays a little bit of tight end, caught the ball. You like what you see here. He doesn't get tackled. He makes it all the way to the end zone. But primarily, this is a defensive guy. Oklahoma's not going to bring Wyatt Gilmore in to play tight end. So we're going to leave this up for a minute while we continue to talk about Wyatt Gilmore. But Wyatt Gilmore is a guy where I think, you don't really have to add maybe a whole lot of size, maybe convert some of what he's got into muscle in a Schmitty program, in a Schmitty workout program. He'll definitely end up with the size that he's at. If he can convert to some muscle, so some good healthy weight, then he's going to be able to be a lot more effective for Oklahoma and in that edge rusher room. And that edge rusher room right now already looks good with what you got for the future in R. Mason Thomas and PJ Adebayor. But let's say, this off cycle, you get Wyatt Gilmore, you get a Jay-Sean Ross, a Zena Yumio Azulu, or Williams Nwaneri, right? Let's say you land 2 or 3 of those guys. I feel like you're feeling really good about where Oklahoma currently sits with the future of that edge rusher room. So Wyatt Gilmore, in 2021, he had 47 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. So again, you kind of see the production that he's able to put out on the field. Oklahoma's not going out there and just offering some scrub. They're out there offering a dude that is actually able to go out there and play, and a guy that's definitely able to bring some talent to the team where they're losing talent this offseason. Now, the question is, where's Oklahoma going to go next with the edge rusher room? And just I guess the defensive line as a whole. You could definitely look at it and say targets like Danny Okoye, Zena Yumio Azulo, those have to be important targets for Oklahoma. They're borderline top 150 prospects. You would want to land that. Zena Yumio Azulu, you guys have heard me say all season. I think Oklahoma's in really good position there just because you already have Michael Hawkins. You expect to be getting Devon Mitchell, two former teammates of Zena. Now, his brother does play offensive line at the University of Texas. So the question is he going to play against his brother, or will his brother end up transferring up to the University of Oklahoma, giving Oklahoma an experienced offensive lineman that, quite frankly, they're going to need because they're losing 4 offensive linemen this season just due to graduating out and or going to the NFL draft. Hence, beat Tyler Guyton would make the 5th. So Zena Yumio Azulu is one that I would definitely pay attention to. Obviously, I know you guys really want to land Danny Okoye, the 6'4", 241-pound edge rusher out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Again, I'll tell you this. I'll believe Danny Okoye ends up in this class when I see it. I'm just not going to believe it until I see it because I think there's a lot of things that work against Oklahoma's favor there. But additionally, you're looking at guys like Ja'Shawn Ross, a guy that has been extremely pro-Oklahoma on Twitter from Liberty, Missouri. I will say he does have offers from Nebraska, and it does seem like Nebraska would be a real player there. So to see Ja'Shawn Ross not end up in the class for the University of Oklahoma and see him end up at a place like maybe a Tennessee or a Nebraska, hey, you know what? Both of those schools would definitely be good options for him. But Oklahoma is definitely still a player there. I just don't know if they're the leader there. I know that might be weird saying because he's been so pro Oklahoma, but I do believe Nebraska is a super real player in this recruitment. Now, obviously, you got Wyatt Gilmore, but you could be looking at a guy like Caleb Bread out of St. Louis, Missouri. This probably, in my opinion, would be more of a last resort take. I'm not sure if this is a take that they would have if they could get some of the other guys at the top. So just something to keep your eye out on, that guy could potentially be a possibility. Now, when you look at the interior defensive linemen, obviously still the targets are David Stone, Dominic McKinley, Joseph Jonah Ajonye, Nigel Smith. You got Jaden Jackson. You've got, DeAndre Cook. Man, there's just a lot here. Alex January. The defensive linemen are plentiful for Oklahoma to potentially look at and go after. So not really too worried about what Todd Bates and that staff are going to be able to do there. But guys, I want to hear from you. Go ahead, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Ultimately, where do you think Oklahoma ends up with this edge rusher class? And what are your opinions around Wyatt Gilmore and that recent commitment for the Oklahoma Sooners? If you guys haven't already, go ahead and jump over to one of the podcast platforms, Apple, Google, or Spotify. Go ahead, give me 5 stars, leave me a review over there. Check it out, guys. We're trying to grow those platforms, so I'd love to have you guys be a part of that over there.